confirm Phreak has it in his hand now.
That's me. Handed it to Kobe. Clean handoff as well. We're ready to cast this game. OpTic Gaming and Golden Guardians to close out the day. And GGS to a sad 0-4 start, but what a time to turn it around when OpTic Gaming has just switched their lineup back around, Arrow back in the country, and you figure maybe they're not as practiced as they would be at this point, and this is your time to strike and start to turn things around. That's the hope for Golden Guardians here. OpTic off to a pleasant start with an academy-heavy roster at 2-2. They can improve to 3 here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of ways of looking at it, right? The analyst test was like, oh, you know, what if, you know, making these switches and then they lose, everyone's going to flame them, right, for changing something that worked. But you can also look at it like, oh, they have practiced with this team also, and they decided this team was better than their team that started 2-2. So this would be a very fearsome team that also other teams wouldn't have much info on.
Sure.
We'll see today, Phreak, if it is going to be Golden Guardians' first win, or if it will be OpTic number 2's first win.
I like the Dhokla Wukong hover for the Alorum shout out. I'm always a fan of people referencing each other, so.
Will Alorum now always hover like what, Yorick or something?
Yeah, I feel like that's what Dhokla is known for at this point. But Urgot grabbed right away. The Draven will be, what, 4 out of 5 games now. It's been banned away from Deftly, still not letting him play this champion. I feel like you would wait a bit for Silas here, but maybe you blinded. I don't know. Nope. Sion, Hauntzer's on a tank duty. We know the Urgot can move back and forth. Sion is almost always top lane, though I haven't seen it flex before.
I mean, yes, he can be played in the mid lane. Technically, can also be played as support. However, Froggen doesn't seem like the mid lane type of player.
No, he's not the Sion kind of player. He's the Karthus kind of player. Ezreal, either way, is grabbed up, which is not much of a surprise with Draven, or actually Draven and Lucian off the table here, so definitely going in the tier list in this one.
Are they going to pick Kaisa?
Is he? I don't know. I feel like Arrow can play something else, but yeah, that seems likely.
It's possible.
Yeah, Sivir is an option, for example, if you're trying to play really aggressive. There's a Thresh in there for Big, and back on the stage. That was subbed out because Gate had played more with Asta.
And we had always heard such good things about Big as far as his shot calling and the team atmosphere and everything.
Yeah.
From all of the people on OpTic, players as well as management. So we'll see if this does change anything for how they operate in game. Because
Kobe, you got it.
Oh my God!
Wow!
Right?
You are genius brain right here. Burst out of your skin.
You passed it to me, so I have it now.
You have it. You have it, and you were right. Braum being hovered. That doesn't seem too surprising either. And as time ticks down, I think it's actually already locked and they're on bans. I can't quite tell. Either way, yep, that was a very fast Braum lock-in. So now, Golden Guardians, what are you afraid of here? Both teams have picked pretty much the same roles. Most likely, Urgot and Sion are top lane. And Golden Guardians get first dibs on pick, and they're banning away junglers trying to pinch down Meteos.
Interesting. Yeah, because, okay, so there is a debate going on right now about the type of jungler that you want for pro play, right? A lot of people in the camp of Lee Sin and KhaZix and things like that, especially in LCK, seeing so much success with these early game. You snowball your lanes, you mine some turret plates, you get early dragons, and you snowball the heck out of the game. However, our games in North America have been going much slower on average than those games. And when you start to take that into account, then you have to think about, well, the jungle experience for camps later in the game has been taken down. So some people are opting to go with those things like the Nunu that we saw already, the Sejuani that can operate very effectively as tanks without much levels, or even things like the Ivern that were hovered, not picked today.
Yeah.
But, you know, that is definitely something that can be thrown around if you're expecting the game to go, you know, longer. However, I still think that the best way to play right now is to pick your Lee Sin or your Din Zhao, your Camille, play fast, get your ganks off for your laners, get your laners rich off of turrets.
Okay, well, Golden Guardian to get first dibs, and I'm assuming jungles they can counter-pick the solo lane here and make sure they know what Crown is playing. Nocturne is the hover. It's been grabbed.
Freaking Yasuo ban against Froggen, too. I would like to see the scrims where that popped off. Because that is something that I would definitely like introduced back into pro play. But
don't worry, next patch he's in.
Yeah, next patch. We're on the docket. Nocturne again, as you said though. Again, they have Ezreal long range ultimate as well as Nocturne can jump on somebody. So we shall see. Is Meteos of the same opinion? I believe I believe he is.
Okay, so KhaZix coming through. Last time I remember seeing a lot of Meteos KhaZix was back when you went Hex Drinker R Evolve and it gave damage reduction and he would be a bruiser. Yeah. Of course, more of an aggressive champion here, and this could be exciting. Waiting to see what comes around. Now, OpTic have a decent front line with Thresh and Urgot. They don't have the best of engage, though. I think they need something to lead through and give the space for the KhaZix, unless they have some way to kite back. But no, Lissandra makes a lot more sense. Crown back on Liss in the mid lane. And now that means the Karthus comes through. And it turns out Froggen is the kind of guy to play Karthus. I got the ball back, Kobe.
There you go. Phreak's got it too. Karthus picked up for Froggen. Premier farm player, perfect champion. Now, are we going to see a last-minute swap? Nocturne mid into Karthus jungle, Phreak?
If Meteos was casting, he would say yes, but Meteos is wrong. Froggen back on the Karthus. He's going to farm as much as he possibly can. And I wonder how much he's going to get ganked, because Lissandra KhaZix can definitely put damage on that champion, can pick him off. But, I mean, if it works out well, though, you've got 3 globals on the Golden Guardians roster. Contractz goes in, Froggen and Deftly join, and someone's dying.
And let's get some history for people who haven't followed Froggen for his entire career, which, by the way, has been like 7 years. He has always been a huge proponent of Karthus, even into matchups like LeBlanc back in the days when LeBlanc was before the rework and she was extremely OP as assassin. He was of the opinion that you can win this with Karthus, with well-placed Skittles on the ground. He can see us from very far away. He can take deaths, but still get farm and still be extremely relevant for the team fights for later in the game. And I'm very curious to track this. Of course, he's going to take Dark Harvest for that execution damage on his ultimate, and we'll see if they can actually combine it, because a Nocturne is one thing, but a Nocturne backed up by this giant beam of light coming from the top of your screen to execute you after he deals, 75% or whatever of your life, means that you don't have much time to react.
Well, we'll see what the reaction is as OpTic Gaming and Golden Guardians hit the rift here for our 5th game of the day. GGS hoping to get themselves a win. OpTic showing their intended roster for the first time in the LCS 2019 season. And for a word on OpTic's new lineup, we've got a word with Zabutin.
Thanks, guys. Zab, we finally get to see the intended OpTic roster. What can we expect from the team?
I think the team is really well prepared. I think there is a lot of talent coming in, and I'd say we are a 10-man roster, so it's the starter roster, but it's just, I would say, just another game. There's just a lot of talent all across the board, so I expect us to be very strong.
What do you think is going to give you the winning edge today?
Jungle mid?
Well, Zab, thank you, and best of luck to you. Back to you guys.
Concise answer. Jungle mid. There you go. Jungle difference here in this game, Phreak.
Honestly, it's my expectation as well. I said it in champs, like Lissandra KhaZix should be able to brutalize a squishy champion like Karthus, and he's not running cleanses, only the flash for the way out.
Brutalizer was taken out of the game, Phreak.
Serrated jerks even more damage, Kobe. But thank you for the reminder.
I knew you would appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Meteos back in the LCS, as you can see. That was his last game. Contractz though is in his jungle already, and I know that is one thing Meteos hates the most: people invading his jungle, leaving wards behind. GGS won't find anyone, and they'll just get the clean steal.
I believe Guardians weren't spotted coming in, although you're going to figure this out really quickly when these guys walk by. You're like, huh, why are they coming from my red buff? And then big...
I'm sure they were up to, nothing nefarious.
No, not at all.
In our own jungle there. Just a very nice Ezreal Braum strolling through. Meteos has figured it out. They told him. They saw the bottom lane leave, so it is going to be split. And those
Q at Contractz help him wave clear. Aww.
All right. He's going to go for the Scuttle here. He was seen over the Ghost Poro, I believe, from Meteos. And he actually
scare it away.
He didn't go into the bush to scare it. This is amazing for KhaZix. Let's see if he can actually get it, because isolation damage is so big, huge.
No smite for Meteos though, so it's gonna be hard to steal.
Contractz will not get level 3 off of this Scuttle Crab, but Meteos just decided he's gonna go the long way around. I think it's in large part due to Froggen pushing mid lane. Whenever I'm thinking about those jungle 1v1s, yes, it is nice to have the bush advantage for KhaZix, and you get pure isolated damage on the Nocturne. However, biggest difference is, can my laners come to me first? Yeah, because that's going to really ruin your day, and Froggen was pushing.
I really do wonder if that was fightable, just because you can look at the crab and know the fear got burned and say, oh, its armor is down to 10. He's definitely got it on cooldown. But
Even
the risk of Froggen, of course, I understand.
Yeah, yeah. So that's my
know.
catch-all, because I have literally been there, and I've taken that fight.
Ah, he's got no fear.
Yeah, and then I just get pissed when the enemy mid laner comes in. I'm like, oh, well, you know, I am pissed that he came, but I should have looked at the minimap.
The minimap is easy.
It really is your fault if you take that fight.
Good to know, junglers. All right, well, Contractz level 3 here with the camps being cleared away as we watch as Hauntzer is going to try to lick his wounds for now. You don't expect to win the matchup as Sion versus Urgot, and you're going to do what you can to farm and hope you can trigger Grasp once every 7 minutes here. Quick pop on the Scryer's Bloom's going to spot what Contractz is up to, but these junglers are basically trading blow for blow. It's very, very close. Yeah, a lot of damage towards Hauntzer. He knows he's not going to... Oh, just kidding. Has to burn Flash. Wow.
All right, Phreak.
Overestimated what he could do.
He got to proc his Grasp.
Yeah?
He said 1 every 7 minutes.
All right.
Was it worth it to take
It wasn't.
300 damage?
No.
That was...
You get like 5 health back for that.
Stays forever, though. So
yeah.
as long as he doesn't die or be punished for his Flash, you know, he's farming up these minions.
That never happens.
Very well at his turret right now. He's got all the ones that I saw. Lost one.
Oh, it's close.
Ooh.
Oh, 2. All right, that's decent. That's decent. He's equal CS.
Yeah.
Under turret equal CS. I think it's reasonable. Sadly, only got some casters, so his minions were worth less individually. Really minor point. Doesn't matter too much. It's the mid lane that we care about, and it's +6 right now as the cannon goes down. Froggen so far feeling good, and the first clear for Meteos was mostly tracked, and so no first gank comes through.
Yeah.
I mean, it matters when they hit 6.
They're actually mirrored right now. Contractz on top side is on a ward, though. As you're saying, he's definitely getting tracked. He knows he's being tracked.
Galaxy brain.
Galaxy expansion. Let's see. Ocean Drake is the first Drake. Definitely worth fighting over or sneaking. So big, really good job here, early clearing this ward. Golden Guardians had placed this because there's a huge advantage for blue side in early Dragons. And of course, that is obviously the Blast Cone. Now, if you're playing a champion that can solo it, there are plenty of them in the game right now. Blast Cone and sneaking the first dragon is actually an insane win rate boost. So good ward there from Golden Guardians, better clear from Big, and it definitely is a possibility that they have to worry about, especially if your mid and bottom lane are pushing.
All right, watch out then for this one, as of course that Blast Plant has, of course, spawned behind that pit. It's about the same time as Drake comes up, so yeah, not really an issue there for him.
I mean,
yeah, thank you.
KhaZix isn't one of the champions that needs it, but it does make it safer because...
You don't have to burn your E.
Exactly. Sometimes you can jump in, you can YOLO it. However, if you get caught at an Ocean Drake slows you, and you just get killed.
That's flash to get out right there. All right, well, still the safe wave clear plus. So far, 8 in the mid lane for Froggen, feeling pretty good. As the Crown's already burned his TP to get back to lane a while ago. Froggen's doing his first one here. I should have enough for, I want to say, Catalyst. And we'll wait as he's going to still wait around. Yeah, 600 gold. He's close to Catalyst tier, actually. A little bit after this wave will be enough. I think it's 1850 to do the whole thing. And not quite as much money as he has right now, but he's still going to be in a good spot if he wanted to go for the fully stacking build. There's the Catalyst, and we'll see what comes up. Yeah, Boots, because he can't afford tier if he wanted to go for that one. Dark Seal instead, and he's going to be just okay. 200 gold lead overall for Golden Guardians, and honestly, it's not been their problem. Statistically, Golden Guardians have had a reasonable early game. They're not down that much overall, but it's been really getting away from them in the mid to late game instead. So somewhat par for the course, but with OpTic having the pressure in the bottom lane, they've been able to shut this one out. Ocean Drake's going to go over, and that's going to be huge for the early laning phase of OpTic Gaming.
Yeah, and it's a Kaisa that has the lane push. Oh, Froggen, can he do it?
He's got smite. It's okay.
Could happen.
I know. I've seen stupider. I've seen rank 1 Janik use Steel Baron.
Fair enough. Shout out to Zekint.
Should have been Bloodwater, I think.
Bloodwater. Classic Volt support player.
2013. Shout out if you know that game.
It was, yeah. Anyways, though, the point you were talking about, the pushing bottom lane, as we mentioned before, it's even better when it's a Kaisa because of the passive. Can really burn through the early Drakes. No big scare here for Crown. He can easily get the claw out. While Nocturne does have very potent all-in crowd control and stealth shield and stuff like that, it's not instant, so easily escapable there for the Lissandra.
As the crab goes over, and we get pretty close to this level 6. And there it is. pretty much par for the course here for Contractz, but we had faster ones from Rush earlier in the day as you keep clearing the minions. Meteos should probably auto that one minion, so his Q does more damage. But otherwise, not a huge issue here as they keep just farming, and Meteos gets bonus regen because of Ocean Drake.
Happy day. It actually is quite nice.
Yeah.
For KhaZix too. Let's see if we get any deeper vision, because right now, pretty good job, but it's mostly just these defensive one-off, jungler river wards basically for both teams, trying to defend. I guess if Nocturne's ultimate is available now, then it's not going to do too much for you unless you get really deep ones on the camps, and that's kind of dangerous.
Looking at a chance at Braum, didn't know what Froggen was going for. It wasn't that, and the blue hands over by himself. He gets to even save time. He's allowing Contractz now to leash for him. What a good teammate Froggen is. I know there was criticisms back in the day, back in his Echo Fox days. He's selfish, he wants all the farm. He saved Contractz in 20 seconds of his life.
Definitely appreciated as a jungler. Blue can just be taken by himself for the solo laners. Froggen also very happy to continue to farm up. I don't think he's been trading a lot. You see, I don't even think he probably would have been able to stack any Dark Harvest yet. Yeah.
Total damage to champions, 47.
Yeah. Hasn't traded at all, basically, yet. Maybe one auto was done.
He fought Crown in the river once. He, wall of pained him and hit a Q or something.
Okay.
Ooh!
But it certainly wasn't at low enough health for Dark Harvest, so not able to get any stacks just yet. But I'm looking forward to it. The Karthus ult plus Nocturne ult is so much damage, especially for bottom laners here. If you go all in, now that bottom laners are level 6, you can burst them down so quickly.
They might be looking. You can see this KhaZix sitting in that mid-river brush as the Nocturne is farming. You can see Froggen playing pretty far back. He's tucking the right side, which is the correct side to sit. He knows he's away from the KhaZix doing so, but the control wards are in. Okay, there we go. 184. He's tripled his damage to champions this game already. Froggen is scaling up his stats.
Look at that early health potion chug too. He wants to fight.
Big damage. Contractz at half HP. He's going to find the fear. He's going to get away. Doesn't get killed by the all-in, but Meteos presses R. He's going in. Last plant. He's going to be fine, but Contractz is forced out.
Yeah, that's the early Q evolve there for Meteos. KhaZix going to have a huge advantage in the early burst. Scares him out. No summoner spells blown, though, and that is just the KhaZix ultimate down.
That's a forced recall out of Contractz, buying a bit of time for Meteos to do what he wants, but it is an ulti-less KhaZix, so you can argue that's maybe worse for OpTic. I want to point out the Dark iteration of OpTic was 100% first blood rate across their 4 games. They won 2 of 2, but they did get first blood every time, and somewhat of shoes to fill. Certainly OpTic feel like they are stacked jungle-wise. I think both Dark and Meteos are absolutely excellent players.
Completely agree. OpTic definitely got a lot of good pickups, and they got a lot of good pickups kind of late in the offseason too, I feel like.
Yeah.
They surprised a lot of people, and that's partially why they were able to get these wins with technically their academy roster, or most of it, with Crown being the one that has been kept constant.
Oh, Rod of Age is now done, and we keep that 8 CS difference in mid lane. Of course, Crown not missing any CS because he's not pressured ever. So a farm off in that one as the Proto Belt's also done on the blue side. Top laners fighting back and forth. Hauntzer still actually doing just fine. He's completely equal. Actually, he's slightly ahead in CS with more to gain, so that's going to feel good. Here's the dive in the mid lane. The ulti's stacked up, and there's the first blood. Crown sets up alongside Arrow.
All right, they were able to lock him down. Flash used by Crown to hit it onto Froggen. Bottom lane roams up. And again, we're seeing the consequences of these Kaisa lanes pushing Ezreal lanes in and allowing for roam of the bottom lane.
Nice play, though, for Arrow to get up there. Finally, his first LCS game of the year, and it starts out with assist on first blood. This one, though, not... Oh, that's a good hook. Decent play. Olleh is here in case he needs a shield. Just the ward going down. Nice little bit of poke there as well.
Froggen is coming back in time to try and do something.
Oh, they're going for the play.
Infernal.
TP, Nocturne ult as well. They're going right in for Big. He's got the flash. Nicely timed, gets over the wall and just keeps the Nocturne at bay.
Exactly, the timing here. You have to allow the Nocturne to hit you first so he doesn't go over the wall with you.
Yeah.
Because once RS cast, he's gonna follow you. Teleport comes in from OpTic side.
You can't cancel. So a quick stopwatch, but that's now Sion Q on cooldown. Round 2 as Braum hits the button. And look at the burst they've got. Contractz finds himself a kill. And Meteos has got to run. He's trying to get away. And he will almost certainly die when KhaZix, or I should say Karthus, finally presses R. Crown's running a bit low as well. When do they go for this play? Meteos back in his jungle, maybe he's gotten enough health, and Froggen not gonna ult him down, and so they're gonna leave themselves alive.
Yeah, regardless, that TP sucked from Dhokla.
It did.
You're not allowed to cancel it anymore, so it's much more difficult, and probably shouldn't give people as much flack, but there was not a convergence from OpTic here to get there in time, and there's 4 people around with Sion charging up Q. That does give up the Infernal Drake instantly. There's another look, though. It's just a flash from Crown and Arrow with a follow-up ultimate. But yeah, here we go. Crown had just backed mid lane with the Claw. Meteos was on the way, but even with stopwatch delaying, trying to buy time for the team, that seemed like this OpTic squad were not on the same page with this call of the TP.
Yeah.
We don't know which side is to blame in situations like that, but they definitely were not moving as a team in time. And that was after they had just gotten a pretty big victory on the bottom side, only to lose an Infernal Drake here. Golden Guardian super happy about that.
That's going to feel pretty good here. A mistake, certainly, give them the opening. And now, round 2, is they're going to get this hook. He's lassoed in. Certainly a kill, and Arrow now on the board with his first kill of the LCS season.
Oh, there you go. OpTic getting one right back for themselves. Another kill here for them. See if they can get some more turret damage done. The turret plates just fell, so they might even be able to finish this one. Oh, definitely with the Rift Herald.
Yeah, this one picked up. Summon, that's going to be a turret falling. So, 650 for first turret.
And look
Slam.
at that.
There it is.
They had 5 turret plates with the drop downs there, worth of gold mined for themselves before they dropped, which is extremely significant heading into the mid game here.
Yeah, a lot of that from Urgot, or at least one of them from Urgot in the top side, and looks like 2 in the bottom lane. And there you go, get that spread across them. But it's still only a 900 gold difference in Golden Guardians, arguably with the better Drake. It depends sort of on game state, technically. You can out-regen Infernal in the long term. Either way, though, it's a close one. We're going to wait to see if OpTic can prove to 3 and 2 or Golden Guardians get on the board. Meteos keeps clearing away in this jungle, and we'll hand up a blue to Crown before too long.
Spam of pings here from both teams up on the top side, because there's all these control wards here that both of them could see. And Golden Guardians are going to be the first ones to move in. They take control of the river for both sides, actually. And this is going to be a big deal as far as the transitional plays, because even though Golden Guardians haven't taken a turret, being able to set up Nocturne Karthus combos, Karthus is now level 11, so that ultimate, we still haven't seen it yet, Phreak.
Nope.
And he doesn't have the Dark Harvest, any Dark Harvest charges yet, but
he's got 2 now. He's actually found a way in on some of those team fights, yeah. And they got that 1 kill with him nearby, so he managed to stack up a little bit. 521 damage for the ultimate, plus the 80-ish for Dark Harvest, depending on the AP ratio and everything else. So certainly some burst is available to him. Wait if that happens. His Crown could stop a recall, and they trade long-range tools.
Scuttle Crab on the bottom side. Looks like, since it's completely dark, should be a pretty easy pickup there for Contractz. So many of OpTic showing on top side with these control wards that they just placed here. It's kind of an exchange of vision in the river. Now OpTic moving in, sweeping out everything Golden Guardians just put down. But not going to be a very big push as they pull off of that as well.
Okay, still the docile mid game then. 16-25 into the game. Farm leaders, of course, the mid laners. It's a fairly uncontested matchup. There was the one good gank. Crown went for flash ult. Got Arrow to follow in, and they farmed 450 off that play. But otherwise, not a lot of aggression's been happening here. A couple of attempts for steals and buffs trading hands. That Rift Herald, of course, getting OpTic. That extra gold that puts them ahead with that turret falling.
And look at Contractz kind of hovering here behind the duo, pushing up, waiting to pull the trigger if anyone jumps down for any sort of conflict. They really should be able to make use of this. Currently, some spell pen picked up by Froggen. I was looking for the boots. Or actually, no, that's not even the piece anymore. No Oblivion or
going longer team fight.
No spell book or no spell boots either. Sorcerer boots.
Yeah, Leandries lets you kind of sit front line, press E, and burn things down for a while. Okay. So far, they're going to be all right with this one as Olleh gets rid of one of the wards, makes sure there's none left, and they go back to the mid lane farm, and Olleh can take up some of this when given the chance. Now they're going to go back to the side. They found Kaisa. Good flash over the wall. Down to half HP. She's safe. 2 ults down for a flash.
All right, that was a very anticlimactic first Karthus ultimate there, Phreak.
Yep.
Doesn't get much damage, doesn't get anybody low enough for Dark Harvest either. Oh,
right.
It's gonna be just a bush camp instead.
But it's Arrow at half HP, right?
And they're all covered in pixie dust.
All right, well, they're going to try for this play, and they're going to see how much a low-health Kaisa can contribute here, but they're missing 2 ults, Golden Guardians. That's enough to say, nope, not even an attempt right there. Out they go, and GGS picks up Ocean Break. That said, mid-tier 2 is under fire. It's just simply OpTic saying, we'll go for that instead. They've got demolished, they've got some damage. Chunk comes down, and that just might be several hundred gold coming to their pockets as trade for that Ocean.
Yeah, I mean, not just that, they're still hovering around. Crown on the possible flank with the claw over the wall. Hauntzer, though, just goes bottom side. Maybe he can do a decent amount of damage to this turret. He's going to need one more wave.
It's nearby, and no one has yet come over. Find the recall out of Lissandra. But yeah, Hauntzer might get a couple hundred health down here as Dhokla walks over. We'll see if he wants to spend the time. As the cannon minion goes down, he can walk up. Not even a punch. Ignite early, just get a spellbook back. And gets the entire wave.
All right, gonna have to wait for cooldowns on Golden Guardian's side. They want the Nocturne and the Karthus available for attempt number 2. Attempt number 1, while we say it was anticlimactic, they got the flash, right? Yep. There's a flash off of Arrow. The Kaisa's the prime target, so you just wait for your cooldowns to come back up, and you go for that target again. Everybody on Golden Guardian should have a bead on Arrow. They should be tracking him. Yep. That is where the next play should go.
And it's a 2-minute window between Requiem backup and Flash being backup. So that's the time you're looking for. At about 20-30 into the game is when that timer opens, and 22:30 is when the Flash comes back. So that's the mark we're going to look for when they might go for round 2 on killing the bot laner.
Yeah, I mean, of course, OpTic should be very well aware of this.
Of course.
Their main goal is to protect him, so keep your eyes on Big. The Thresh will be constantly by Arrow, looking to feel for him.
A little bit of damage out from Crown, a little bit of trade out for Deftly, who so far is farming okay. I know talking to Deftly, he's felt pretty bad about the start for Golden Guardian, said he's been surrounded by so many of these excellent players with LCS titles or Worlds experience in the last couple of years. And he's like, but I'm the one who's around still, sitting here in 10th place. He's started blaming himself a little bit for this. I don't think that's quite true. I think definitely he's still a great player. But it started to weigh on him in a little bit. So far, this game's been decent. He's got the assist. He's got more farm. And we'll see what he can do later game in the Ezreal.
Scaling up here. Finishing up his last charges for the Muramana. He's got the Spell Pen, Boots. Ultimate should be able to do a decent chunk now.
And they're just going to keep waiting around, sitting in that mid lane. Here's the opening. Requiem is back up, and they've got still 1 minute and 45 seconds before Arrow can flash away from a play. Yep. And they got Meteos nearby in mid. They got Big right here as well. And the window is slowly closing. We'll see if that play comes up, or if Golden Guardians really want to sit there and wait and farm and play a hyper late game.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of hard for them, because as we said, OpTic are very well aware. Arrow's going to be playing super safe while his flash is down, and they have a Thresh on their team. So while the flash blown and the timing window is there, it's not so simple as 1, 2, 3 to fix it.
Oh, there's one bot lane instead of flash. Hauntzer still has Zagger, but look at the burst damage. They've got him. Dhokla's down in the 3v1 in the bot lane.
Yep, they're able to get value out of both ultimates anyway, and the teleport does come in.
Hauntzer will flash if needed, will burn it. Crown's gonna protobout forward, almost in range. Doesn't want to burn his flash, but he might have to. Contractz is nearby. There's the second claw. There's the ult. Is there follow-through? Contractz over. He's going to find the fear, and it's nicely timed to the stopwatch. Rest of the squad coming around. True Shot Barrage gets some damage. Crown is over the wall, and they know it. How do you get out, though? He's spotted. He's seen. He ease away again. Almost gets the damage deftly.
Okay, I've got here. Now what?
Olleh. I guess I got to try to get the kill to Olleh.
Yeah, I mean, that's ideal.
And he will take it. Takes the shutdown goal. Maybe could have waited. I think definitely could have certainly walked up and grabbed it. That was maybe greedy.
Yeah. So if Braum just walks up and stands next to Lissandra,
yeah,
there's no way that was 10 seconds. So Olleh doesn't have to damage him.
Yeah.
He can definitely wait at least 5 more seconds before doing that. So I agree, he didn't have to take it, but in the moment you're like, whoa.
Yeah, we gotta kill him just in case.
What's gonna happen? Maybe he's magic.
Maybe he's magic. You know, he's won Worlds before. Sometimes those players are just nuttier than you realize. Either way, the game is still very tight as Meteos walk top lane with all the time that Crown bought despite dying. It let KhaZix knock down that outer turret, so 500 more gold came through.
Yeah.
And it's still fairly close.
I mean, that's what you want to do when you're caught out like that and you're going to die. Just waste as much time as possible, as far away as possible from anything meaningful. So he basically gets 2-3 members of them back to their base, chasing for the kill, while the team gets not exactly the full value, but a decent amount back.
Still pretty decent here, so this is the game. Still 400 apart, Infernal Drake is alive, and
oh baby,
Karthus, no ultimate for this fight. This could be meaningful. They find Froggen for a little bit of damage.
Big slow.
Lissandra looking forward, does not pull it in. Now on the bottom side, they found Dhokla yet again. Half HP onto him. The burst coming across, and they again knock down Dhokla. The Urgot is dead, and will Meteos try to steal. He jumps over the pit. He's gonna try to find that play. He's gonna jump back out, and now, except for Flash, there isn't a way back in. And he's not going to burn that summoner spell. This Drake will be picked up. And now the fight on the left-hand side as Froggen finds a solo kill on the big and walks right back into mid lane.
Froggen just walks at big, finds the solo kill, gets the Dark Harvest stack. They get the dragon. This is a double Infernal Drake Karthus, by the way. Fully stacked Rod of Ages. Now the Liandry's is complete, as well as the Sork shoes. So not only is it going to do that build up, ramp up damage with the Liandry's, but he also has some spell bend. Definitely scaling. Let's take another look. Nocturne ultimate was used at the isolated target. That's how you want to use it, right? OpTic are all split up. There's no way they can get to Dhokla. So even though it's an Urgot that is fairly tanky, Golden Guardians take full advantage of the split. They get the kill, and then they force Meteos out of the Dragon Pit. But look at this, yeah, Big was waiting around with the Lantern so long. He was like, oh, you know, maybe Meteos will want to flash in there and he can take the Lantern out.
Yep.
That waiting for the Lantern and not wanting his Lantern to leash caused him to just stand there, and he did not respect Froggen.
Well, Dark Harvest stat count 5. Slowly scaling up and feeling good about it. 1,200 gold lead plus the double Infernal Drake. Golden Guardians certainly ahead in this game, poised to maybe find their first win of the LCS season. A lot of people thought that maybe this could be a playoff team with their pickups, but it was a very, very slow start. And no one's ever made it in the modern era from a 0-4 beginning, but looking maybe like they could do it with at least one win on the board and a whole lot more to play, and they can hope. OpTic Gaming back with their intended starters, and it's a bit of a rough one here against Golden Guardians, a winless team, but more League of Legends to be played. Bottom very, very low, almost dead. And as the map resets, Guardians have yet to pick up a turret, more than one I should say. OpTic have knocked down several. And they'll wait, as now Baron is probably in the eye of most of these teams. We've got a ways to go until the first, or the next Drake comes back up. It'll be the third Ocean.
Yeah, Crown is split pushing right now, but he doesn't have teleport. So OpTic are making the call to just give up mid-turret right now. They don't want to force this fight, and they're going to try and... Okay, so wave clear and waiting for Crown to try and trade topside secondary.
Yeah.
I mean, Crown by himself, it is a Predator Lissandra, so it's not this demolish Aftershock Lissandra, but even so, by himself,
if Contractz its vision, he can ult and start the fear, because the E's on cooldown, but not quite going to find Crown in time for that. Theoretically could have been an option, and maybe found the follow-through with Froggen. But the turret finally does fall to minions, and that's still some gold in the pocket. Yep. Still a 1,400 gold difference. It's still close. Nick. Oh, that is a wall of pain, and Froggen feels safe.
All right, look at this control ward outpost that OpTic put down throughout the red quadrant of Golden Guardians jungle as well. Everything leading up to Baron is going to be lit up like a bright light. Meanwhile, they still get back in time to defend mid. Just barely.
Just barely. It's getting chipped down. Golden Guardians, it feels like part of it is they are reticent to take an auto attack just in case there is follow through. They don't want to get caught out. Maybe it was an option, didn't go for it though.
Yeah. I feel like Golden Guardians will be very confident in their scaling though. I mean, they had a double Infernal Drake Karthus on their team.
Yeah.
And as much as you want to talk about how great Kaisa is later in the game, you know, with the Rage Blade and even the Hurricane builds now where you can hit multiple targets. Karthus with double Infernal Drakes just gets insane. This is a 10-stack Rod of Ages one as well. So as soon as Froggen, you know, finishes a death cap or something like that, Requiem will take out a lot of the threat of even a scaling Kaisa. And Ezreal right now is one of the best scaling marksman in the game with how these hybrid builds are going and the double tier builds come up. So Golden Guardians don't have to rush, right? They've got this early lead.
Oh, wow. They're going to look at a pretty quick Drake here, though. Sorry, I should say Baron Nashor. 5 on it right there. TP getting 4, so Crown to the front line. Slowed, though. This could be dangerous. Flashing away. Has a self-ult away from Nocturne. What can this fight turn into? In goes Braum. Finds a knockup. Oh, the kill in the Crown. But they've got Arrow already. And now Dhokla, again, caught alone. He will drop as well. It's 2 for 0. And Froggen has the ult. If he wanted to kill Crown, it would have worked, but he doesn't press the button. Didn't know that he was away and not yet in the base. But they can still look back at the Baron and again look for this play.
Froggen got the crap. Teleport comes in here, though, from OpTic.
And they're going to try 3 versus 5 to stop this one. Spite is up on both junglers, and Meteos has the ult as well. He can turn Invis inside the pit and make it easier to find that steal. Still trying as Hauntzer tanks up the shots. The Ocean Drake gets a little bit of regen. Back to the Golden Guardians lineup. Lower and lower it goes. Meteos is just checked by Olleh. He can't yet get in the pit. Pops the ult, leaps away. Look for the flash. They're waiting him out, though. Gets to land to the other side. He's still trying to find the opening. Baron is still at 2,000 health. Can they find Meteos? Now it's Karthus' turn to join in, but they got the Guardian Angel out of 1, but they've killed off Meteos. There is no smite left. They can burn down the Baron. It's up to Crown, but the claw is stopped by Olleh, and the Baron is picked up by Golden Guardians.
They actually ran a full circle around the Baron pit there, only to be ended by Froggen's Requiem, finally taking down the enemy jungler and allowing Golden Guardians to finish it off with no threat of the smite steal.
And the kill is late enough that they can even grab the Ocean Drake on the back half with no contest at all. And this is looking like the one. This is looking like that first win of the split here for Golden Guardians. From 0-4 to maybe making the comeback season.
Yeah.
This is their Drake. They've got the Baron. They've got the power play. They can take a lot.
I really don't know what you can do against Karthus at this stage in the game. Fully stacked up. All right, let's take another look at the ring around the Rosie. Meteos starts on the top side. Olleh is on him hard right now. Braum trying to chase him, trying to stack up the passive, doesn't get the last hit, and Big does get the Thresh lantern all the way around to the opening, and Froggen decides he's done chasing and just goes with the ultimate. Dark Harvest, boom, able to find the kill. Contractz gets back up with his Guardian Angel and finishes the job.
All right, well, Baron buff on all 5 of them. Only the Guardian Angel was lost, and they are now pushing down in the mid lane, and Deftly, we know, can chunk these turrets down on Ezreal. Insurance policy, marksman 0, 0, and 6. And as that turret's getting lower, it's going to drop right here, and more gold heading their way. 5,000, 6,000 ahead. Now look at topside. Hauntzer to push this wave in, and Contractz is here to help join in. And the defense is a bit scattered here. Crown on top side, and he can slowly kill the minions off. And looking to try to do so, but mid is still the object of the Golden Guardians' affection as this turret falls down to 2/3. Meteos in the wings, finds a slow. Dhokla runs forwards. Not yet going back on him, and here's the Braum multi in the front line hook as well, and oh, it's Crown looking forward, gets a self-ult down. The fight continues 5-on-5, Hauntzer splits it into halves, and Crown buys 6 more seconds, but he's still gonna drop down. 1 kill picked up, and Froggen stays alive, can easily kite back for an ult later on as well. It's Dhokla getting low. Is it lethal? No, it's not. He's tanky enough, but it's enough to push them off the base, and the inhibitor is gonna be laid open. The inhibit self will fall on top. Golden Guardians win the fight and crack open the base.
Did he just activate his shield? Because he doesn't even have that much MR. I think he just had the Negatron cloak right there. Seemed like he was able to almost fully negate it. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Baron buff is still on. GGS marching forward. Yeah, Froggen's marching very far forward.
He got flash, but a great hook's gonna find him. He's gonna try to flash away and just barely stays alive. Gets the shield from Braum. Now a knockup. Dhokla low again, but at 1K is enough for now. Nice hook in towards Hauntzer, but not in turret range. He's gonna stay alive at 3,000 health. Arrow's still around, but can't burn down that tank despite being at 3 items. The siege might continue. Another shot comes in for Ezreal as it's getting lower and lower. Froggen TP's back into the mix, and this turret is not long for the world. 30 seconds of Baron power play. Froggen really goes forward and pushes back Dhokla. And they look at yet another inhibitor to kill. And why could you even defend this with the Baron power play on? So it's Crown to the front lines, and he gets shut down right away. A slow in for Hauntzer. Big's gonna drop as well, and their eyes are on the prize. Golden Guardians might get their first win of the year. The shields come up, and there's not a lot of defense left to stop them here as the turrets are going to fall. OpTic will fight valiantly, but how could they possibly do it? They're outnumbered, they're outgunned, and there's simply too much to be done right here. As the snipes come through, a stopwatch buys a second, and then some heroics out of Arrow, but he's still alone, flashing away, still dropping. Golden Guardians get their first win.
When Froggen joined this team, one of the first things people were asking is, but can he play meta, or is he just gonna play Froggen champions? Well, Karthus right now is mostly played as a jungle champion. He picks it up, he scales really, really well, gets enough damage here. Golden Guardians with their first win, very, very big opening for them. Contractz on the Nocturne, able to combo very well for themselves. And they were patient around the Baron, waiting out all possible chances of a smite steal, allowing them to secure this game. And this one of our fastest games that we have had for the whole split.
Yeah, actually, a pretty convincing one, honestly. They looked solid for most of it. It was close, certainly, for a lot of the early and mid game, but it really did turn around. Once you got to the mid-game team fights, they got the globals in, they found those snipes several times. They just looked at the Urgot split pushing and said, Nocturne, Karthus, that's enough to find that kill. They found the ways to crack open that game, and finally smiles on their faces, Golden Guardians. They revamped the roster, they added some new talent, and they got to feel good, at least starting with a win finally.
Yeah, definitely. It can be so demotivating and difficult to start a season out like that, because this team was back-to-back 10th places last year, and they made so many changes. They changed everything. Coaching structure, players.
2 players remain.
Like they made all the changes that they could, and yet then they still came back and they were starting out with losses. So getting a win on the board here is going to be very big for team morale specifically.
Yeah, still I think a lot of unanswered questions. Keep in mind, we don't know how good of a win versus this OpTic roster is. The old roster, we said, okay, they're a solid middle of the pack team. That win looks good. This roster coming back in, I don't know how much time they've had to scrim. They obviously switched players around and put them back in. In Godic's first game, it was his second game ever with Crown. But over the next week and a half, you figure he probably put a lot more games in. At what point did Meteos take back over? And it's just an unanswered question. Exactly how good is this OpTic? Did Golden Guardians get better over the last week? Did OpTic get worse? And they're hard questions to answer. We will see more, of course, of both these teams tomorrow. They both play much harder teams. I think Liquid and TSM are those respective opponents. Those are tests. Those will let you know what those caliber of teams are at. But otherwise, it's still good to get a win. Yeah,
I mean, it's always nice to start out the weekend that way, because as you said, those 2 games tomorrow are going to be so difficult. But specifically for Team Liquid you talked about, right? The team, they're undefeated right now. They look like undeniably the best team. The first team that is able to take a win off of them is going to get such an unreal confidence boost. So.
Massive brownie points we can take down Liquid. We'll see who can. There's 5-0 so far, but not 0-5 in Golden Guardians. So for more on his first victory of the year, Ovly is standing by with the Golden Guardians mid laner.
Thanks, guys. I am here with Froggen. Congratulations on finally picking up the win for Golden Guardians. What was the team's reaction to just smashing OpTic's Nexus?
I guess we were happy.
Yes, you were happy? Boosted morale, or?
I guess we'll see, but pretty happy feelings right now, I guess.
Pretty happy. So just kind of looking at the split so far for Golden Guardians, you guys had a hyped roster coming into the split, but had a little bit of a slow start. What do you think was holding you guys back?
I don't know, it's hard to say. There's just something that's not really transitioning from scrims onto stage, and we're still trying to figure that out, and this is a good start for it.
And now, when I saw you pick your Karthus pick, I got personally excited because it gave me flashbacks to all of the times where you were just destroying and breaking every single CS record. I believe the last one was in 2016 with Gangplank, but then in 2018, you took a little bit of a break, and I was sad to see you go. So what was your motivation for coming back and competing?
I never really wanted to leave the scene, so I didn't really need motivation to come back. I always want to compete. I've been competing in sports since I was 6 years old, so it's just something that I've always been doing, and I enjoy it.
Is there anything that you're trying to set out and prove with your return to the competitive play?
No, I just want to win. I mean, I always want to win. I'm not really trying to prove anything.
All right, well, Golden Guardians' path does not get easier from here. Tomorrow you take on TSM. What are your thoughts going into that match, and how are you guys going to pull off the win?
I think it's going to be about the same as this game. We just have to focus on our own things and focus on how we want to play the game and what we have to do in order to win. Because obviously the first game, they did not look good at all. So we're just focusing on ourselves. And I don't really think the team we're playing against matters a whole lot.
Well, Froggen, thank you so much, and congratulations again on your win. That's it for us here. Back to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Not winless.
Not winless. Thank you very much, Avli. Just wants to win, and win they did here over the first time out for this OpTic roster, the intended starting roster. But Golden Guardians, we said, they have to turn it on today if they're going to turn it on at all when it comes to this spring split, and they did pick up that very necessary win here to move to 1-4. I want to talk about how they did it, though, starting with the composition that they drafted, because we have thrown some criticism at them in the first 2 weeks for their champions.
Yeah, I mean, they've had some very greedy, selfish drafts where people are very focused on their own lane. Here, Sion, obviously a team pick. Karthus, not really a lane-dominant champion, more of a team fighter, though you could argue still be like a little greedy that it wants a lot of gold. And then Ezreal Braum is one of the most safe and team-focused lanes around. So I thought they drafted a really nice comp, easy press R kind of team-fighting win conditions. You can either engage with a Sion or the Nocturne, follow up with Karthus, Ezreal snipes, and it's a pretty nice comp, even if it's a little off meta.
Yeah, I just think that when you are struggling, you should minimize all the complexities that you can, right? This is something that you can control. You can have very simple win condition, fairly simple champions that you're playing, and then you focus on some of these more complex factors that are out of your hands, that are always going to be in there during the game, controlling minion waves, vision, all these other things you have to deal with all the time. So by limiting some of those factors that you can control, I think it makes it easier to focus on what you really need to work on, and I think that came across somewhat. They were able to really execute and get a win.
Focus on those fundamentals. Once you get a handle of those, you can start looking to increase the number of pages in your playbook. For the side of OpTic, what is our thoughts here on the composition drafted for a roster that's hitting the stage for the very first time together this year?
I think their comp is mostly fine. I was a little uncertain about the Predator Lissandra. I think, given the fact that they don't have a true tank, having the extra bit of survivability that an Aftershock Lissandra can bring would be very helpful, given that this is going to be such a team fight-centric game when you see these comps. And the Predator is much more early game focused roaming, I assume. So yeah. I would have preferred Aftershock. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Aftershock is going to be the more standard. It's always going to work in some way. It's going to add something. Yep. But as we talked about, I think it does make some sense when you're looking at across the board. You should have pushing lanes. The Lissandra should be able to shove in the Karthus. The Urgot should be able to push in. Even Kaisa Thresh should be able to push in. And then Lissandra can roam, can group up with the KhaZix, can look for picks in 2v2s, can go to bot lane, can do all these things. And I think Predator is supposed to line up with that to really get the playmaking working. And you have to be on the same page to pull that off.
And it speaks to our idea of how Meteos and Crown should want to play together, right? This idea of the two of them group up and really just play the map and snowball advantages for their team. All that said, OpTic today seemed quite plagued by miscommunication, not syncing up in certain moments. This one in particular, Dhokla had a couple of oopsies today.
Yeah, very far away from the rest of his team. Maybe should have flashed out initially instead of instant hourglassing because you're still right next to everyone. Just gets popped up. Here, after a great dive by Golden Guardians, the late TP by Crown, he doesn't want to commit his flash ult right away, and he takes so long for his next rotation of spells that the shield comes back up for Hauntzer as well. So when he does finally drop his combo, it's once again pretty easily negated there. And so these kinds of mistakes, where we're talking about Golden Guardians comp having easier playmaking, you can punish these kind of mistakes much easier when someone, mistakenly TPs in the middle of your team.
And that's one of those ones where it's kind of in for a penny, in for a pound, right? Where they make the initial play and then it's, well, crap, I guess we're doing this, right? And then not only is it just a TP, it's a death. The stopwatch gets used. Meteos is trying to come in and bail him out. And similarly with the bot lane, not only is it a TP that's maybe too late, then he overcommits and he gives up his life, he gives up his flash, he gives up his ultimate, right? So there's all these things that spoke to them not necessarily thinking through the full play or being all on the same page.
And Golden Guardians, as you mentioned, did a great job of capitalizing with the tools they had on the mistakes that OpTic made, and then played relatively smartly around the Baron. It was an extended kind of, do-si-do, exactly, duck, duck, goose around the Baron pit, but they were able to make sure that they secured it cleanly without Meteos having an opportunity to steal back in, and that's one of the things you want to see from a team that secures those advantages. Hey, don't give the opposition that opportunity to come back into it.
And relatively clean team fighting, too. It's very easy for a Nocturne to press the R button and go too deep. I think there's a good job of Contractz ulting like frontline a lot of the time. Like you would end up on the Urgot versus going way too far onto the Kaisa and then getting kited or something.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You know, you can use that Nocturne ultimate even just for the chaos it creates in a team fight, and we're seeing a lot more players, I think, become more intelligent about how they're using this ultimate. It's not just turn off the brain, dive the back line. It's ult early, as you say, to create chaos, wait till the end of it, then maybe just ult for additional damage on a front line. And it's very situational, and I think it was used well in these fights.
Now, of course, as we mentioned before the game started, the road for Golden Guardians here doesn't get easier. TSM, TL, their next two big opponents. So while this is a great win, and I'm sure will provide some momentum and a moral boost for the team, what do you think, or a performance like this, how does this stack up against the TSM or the TL? How much more do we need to see from this roster, you know, before we start saying, okay, they're back in that conversation for top 6 like we had in week 1 for this squad?
I think they got a little ways to go. I think OpTic made the first initial play where they were able to kill Froggen, and then it kind of slowed down from there, and you saw a lot of these kind of mistakes by OpTic. I would like to have seen a little bit more about getting their own advantage, though to be fair, their team comp was not an early game team comp at all, and then they played the mid to late game out pretty well. So I liked what I saw, but I still think they're a step or two behind. Yeah,
I mean, especially if you're talking about TL. I don't think anyone is really in the TL conversation right now, right? Yeah. They're in their own league. I don't think that TSM is unassailable. They're sitting at 2 and 3. They're one game ahead, right? If Golden Guardian beats them, they're both tied, right? Yeah. They're sitting at 2 and 4. So I don't think that is beyond the realm of possibility. I still certainly favor TSM, but as we saw today against C9, they were making mistakes of their own, and they were having those capitalized on by their opponents. So if Golden Guardians were to draft another straightforward comp and be able to capitalize on some of their opponents' mistakes, then I think they can win those games. It remains to be seen if they can kind of force those errors and create their own advantages without relying perhaps on some of their opponents.
Well, we have no winless teams in the LCS as of today, and as we wrap out the day, let's see how the teams are stacked up. Team Liquid is still very much king, while Cloud9, OpTic Gaming, and FlyQuest all sit tied at 3 and 2, leaving a 5-way tie in 6th at 2 and 3. Let's check in to see how those predictions played out for the day. Kobe, I remember, came up big in game 1 of the day. The call for CLG over Echo Fox was clean. The high will be hurting for that one. And then, of course, that Golden Guardians upset victory here in the final game of the day. But Kobe with the 4 out of 5. That's got to feel good. It got to feel good for him, too, since he bought their stock. I bought the CLG one, so I'm okay. But yeah, still feeling good about that. 100 Thieves, I think, as an org, should feel good as well, not just us who are starting to believe in them a little bit more. I think hopefully they're believing in them. No, Mark. This show's all about us.
It's about you.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Let's be honest.
Well, then I'm mad they won because they messed up my prediction.
All right, well, meet us back here tomorrow where Echo Fox and FlyQuest duke it out in game 1, followed by Clutch Gaming versus Cloud9, with 100 Thieves versus CLG in that 5th game of the day. After those games, stick around as Phreak plays host to OpTic Gaming's Big and Gate on this week's LCS Cooldown. Looking at tomorrow's schedule, any big ticket items that pop out to you guys?
I think the TSM Golden Guardians game, just because I want to see how much further Golden Guardians are improving, and because TSM did look pretty vulnerable today. We thought they had a better draft. We thought that was a game that should have been winnable based off how the early game went, and then they got outplayed by C9, who I still think is one of the best teams in the league.
Definitely.
And it's about finding if these two teams are closer or further apart than our expectations.
Oh. And I'm still on Liquid Watch. I just think that watching this team who clearly has looked the best, you're kind of trying to pick apart and see, okay, where are their weaknesses? Where are their holes for them? You know, are they going to drop games? Right. I think that's kind of an exciting story to follow.
Arguably had their closest game of the split, so today, and even still looked dominant. So the question remains, will anyone be able to hand them a loss this split? And if so, who will it be? If you need, or if rather your need for professional play has yet to be sated, there's always the LEC broadcast taking place just after the show, where our European brethren broke records in Game 5. G2